Well, we're still here at the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance Convention at Split Rock Lodge in the Poconos. And we're here with Michael London. And Michael is a very interesting guy. He's a professor at the very prestigious Wharton School of Business. He's a songwriter, an entertainer, a performer, a recording engineer, has a recording studio, and I thought this would be a really interesting interview because there's so much to talk about. And the thing that really made me light up was he's from Springfield, Pennsylvania, and I jumped a lot of fences back in the 60s.
Your old stomping ground.
That is my old stomping ground. I could tell you some stories, but I won't. So, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
I hope you're having a good weekend here.
Oh, this is great. This is like being a kid in the candy store. Everywhere you go, there's music, musicians, people who are who love guitars, who love playing, and so it's really a wonderful place.
If you go away from something like this feeling empty or unfulfilled, it's your own fault, isn't it? Because there's something here for almost everybody.
Yeah, this is fun.
Tell us about yourself a little bit. The teaching at Wharton, the guitar. Paint us a picture of what you do.
Sure. Well, I've always loved music ever since I was a little kid. My big brother, played guitar, and he always looked like he was having fun. So I took it up myself. My cousin first taught me when I was 10 years old, and then as I was growing up in school, I started to get some recognition for my playing. I started doing radio commercials when I was in high school, and so I got a big kick out of walking the halls in high school and having people say, "Hey, I heard your radio commercial."
Now, where was this, Mike?
This is back in Detroit, Michigan area, Southfield, Michigan, and I flirted with it as being my full-time career many times. Midway through my PhD in organizational behavior, in fact, I left the program, and one more time I said, "Hey, I got to see if I want to do this full time," and I went and lived in New York, and spent about a year there just doing music and playing gigs, and after about a year I said, I love music, but I think the best way to pursue it is to have a profession that I really love, which is teaching, and then also to do music. So I built my own recording studio in my house. I call it Big Fuss Music. I've released one CD to date, and am about to release another. And I've also learned to combine my different interests. For example, I'll do a program at a university. Say at Susquehanna University, I did a program on diversity. We explored issues around diversity, but then also there was a lot of music involved in that program as well, or one on spirituality, for example. So I'll do programs that combine music and academic stuff, and then also I play the coffee house circuit and do concerts and play at festivals and have a lot of recording projects, both where I am the focus, and then also where I also love to support other musicians. I love guitar, I love music, I love harmony. I love the spiritual aspects of music as well, and express a lot of my spiritual connection to the earth and to the environment around me and to myself through my music. And so I've explored that more deeply, and then my next CD project is going to be exploring that more so. Bring my guitar into class and play for them. They get a big kick out of it. Yeah. For a few reasons. One is there's their teacher, doing something strange,
something cool,
and I like it because it shows them, life is not just about what you do in your career. You have to have a life beyond that, and it creates a human connection. That's a lot of what I'm about is, people connecting, people having relationships, people learning how to be effective in those relationships, people experiencing each other in ways that that magical things happen. So I try to do that in my musical performances. I try to do that in my teaching. I try to do that in my studio. So I'm always kind of going for that special quality that happens when relationships are really clicking and people are in their higher self.
This is interesting to me. I'm just going to take you on a little thread here for
Okay.
just a minute.
All right, I'm ready to go.
Business. In
Yeah.
business. I was in business. I ran a factory for many years.
Oh, okay.
I've done a lot of things. But it sounds like you're putting some, I got to get the right words here, but you're putting some humanity, so a human side to business. Is that sort of what's happening? Is that what I'm hearing there?
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
it isn't just punch the numbers and
Yeah.
there's more going on there?
Well, the students that come into our classrooms tend to be very strong quantitatively. In fact, some of them score perfect on their SATs. I mean, they're phenomenally smart. But they need the people skills if they're going to be successful. And also, they need a broader perspective. So the other thing that I do in the course that I teach is all the students work in the community and doing community service as part of the class. And so, they learn a lot about people that are different from them. They learn a lot about themselves, and they really expand their horizons. So we really are emphasizing the human quality and the heart, in a sense, the heart of business, and the spirit that goes into really anything wonderful, whether it be music or a nonprofit organization or a conference like this. If it's not spirited, it doesn't work. And so we're really talking about building spirit.
And a little character and a little compassion maybe. And I've found over the years that our society in some areas has lost the ability to be civil even, let alone compassionate. And it's good that it's being, to me, I'd like to hear that our young people are being taught that this is necessary.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And beyond civility, we want them to learn to, appreciate each other's differences and to, civility is sort of like, in a sense, that's akin to the word tolerance.
Yeah.
Tolerance is good, but it's like, if I said, hey, if I came home to my wife and said, hey, hon, guess what? Today at the job, they tolerated me. Isn't that great? Everybody was civil toward me. Isn't that wonderful? I'm so excited. Now, you don't want to be tolerated. You want to be embraced. You want to be celebrated. You want to be known. And so, we're trying to both in my music and in my teaching, I'm really trying to further that kind of consciousness where people honor each other.
Yes. Good.
And go beyond tolerating each
I'm
other.
glad to hear that's happening because it can only lead to good things down the road. Back to your music now.
Sure.
What type of songs do you write and perform?
Okay.
In general, you can show us one now if you like. Is there a story behind your songs? How do you come up with material? Tell us a little bit about Michael, the songwriter and performer.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's evolved over the years. I'll do a song that is sort of it's a slice of life from my own history. It takes place when I'm 12 years old, back in Southfield, Michigan, and the song is about the experience of being a boy and going through puberty and having to deal with all these girls, and having your voice is changing, and the girls are huge compared to the boys, and not only that, they're wearing these huge heels. Back when I was a kid, the girls wore these 3-4 inch heels, and so there's a lot of comedy in that scenario, but there's also a lot of pathos, and it also relates, I think, to the gender issues that people deal with today. So I try to write about what I know about. So this is a story about me, but I think it's one that other people can relate to.
I'm going to get out of your way.
Okay. This is called Big Shoes. I was 12 years old, not yet 5 feet tall. Thought I'd be taller, but I was small. At Bernie Middle School, the boys all paid their dues with the tall girls in big shoes. Larger than life itself, we did not understand. Big walls, dark hallways, all the little boys ran. Would we ever be men? Would we always lose? Came of age in the shadows of tall girls in big shoes. La da 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 da, la da da da, la da da. Coming down the hall, clip clop, clip clop, clip clop. They could not run, they could not be stopped. They were Amazon queens with the lips of cherry red, as they looked down upon our little heads. What were we to do as they began to speak? We tried to sound tough, but our voices squeaked. Would we ever be men? Would we always lose? We came of age in the shadows, tall girls in big shoes. La da 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 da, la da da da, la da da. So we went to Buster Brown's to get ourselves some heels, 'cause we wanted to know how the big boys feel. They were 3 inches high beneath our bell-bottom pants. We could not walk, but we could dance. And we would not be denied. We wore them into school. We were a little taller, maybe we'd be cool. And on a quest for our manhood, down the hallways we strode, clip-clopping like munchkins on the yellow brick road. And one day we would be men, but you got to pay your dues. Find your voice in the shadow with tall girls in big shoes. La da 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 da, la da da da, la da da, la da da da, la da 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 da, la da da da, la da da. Tall girls, small boys, big shoes. Big shoes.
Amen, brother. Now, what year was that?
Oh,
What
well,
year?
let's see. That would be about 30 years ago. So, 1970.
70. Okay. Because when you said the bell bottoms and
1960
the,
something.
the heels,
Maybe
yeah,
68. Yeah.
that would have. I was in high school in 1960.
Okay.
So the bell bottoms were a little bit after that, and the platform shoes.
Right. Right.
But we had the flag flyers. You don't remember them?
No.
And from Bandstand, they had shoes with ball bearings in the sole.
Oh my gosh.
So you could
That
get
sounds
down
painful.
and do that spin. You know? You could do that spin. But yeah, that's a good song, man. I like that.
Actually, I played this. I played this at a festival, and a woman came up to me afterwards, very tall woman, and she was very upset. And she said, you know, I was one of those tall girls, you know, and you know that was not easy, you know, being a tall girl and you know being gawked at and all that. And you know, I of course felt a lot of compassion for her, but then I said,
Write a song?
write your own dance.
Bada bam, bada boom.
I love it. So anyway, there's a sequel out there waiting to be written. Somebody write it, please.
They'll call it You Dirty Little or something like that. I like that, Michael. Very, very good.
Thanks.
That's several years after my middle school experience, but very relevant still. Yeah. Very good. I guess that's a good example of how you can draw from your personal experiences to write a song that applies to everybody in some way.
Yeah, I think I used to try to write my songs, you know, by trying to write a good song, you know, thinking about good songs I knew and trying to emulate it. But somehow that was disconnected from my own spirit. And I think what I discovered is I really have to tell my own story, but in a way that's inclusive.
Yes.
So it's not like songwriter me. You know, good.
And you have CDs available at Amazon.com?
Yeah, this is what it looks like. Robert Corwin did the cover art. Did a beautiful job.
And this is the type of material that's on there?
Yes,
Good stuff.
I'm working on a new piece that's going to have not only songs but also some instrumentals, and I'm doing some work where I'm using Tibetan bowls, and I'm using my voice as an instrument, and so I'm doing. Now that I have my own studio, I have a chance to just go wild in it. And
Are you recording other artists also?
Yes, I am. Yeah, so I'm also producing some other artists, and I also do back up on some other artists' CDs. I just played on latest Judy Neal CD, a wonderful singer-songwriter from Connecticut.
Now, is this all on your website? Can people see this? What's happening?
Yeah,
Good.
tune in, and love to keep you informed.
And I guess there's also probably a link there to your email for bookings and things like that.
Yeah, sure.
But today everything's all inclusive, you know. But we'll post that all up on the screen, and that's really wonderful. Geez, we used to run around that area. There was a Scotty's hamburger place. That's where just like from Happy Days, peeling rubber, going around. It's gone, long gone. But we had some great times back there. We lived our own happy days, you know, back doing that stuff, you know. I want one more song from you, if I can have it.
Sure.
But you're a very, I won't say unique, but you're a PhD, a college professor, songwriter, performer, record label, recorder, recording studio. How important is it? You know, a lot of kids, they want to be, they're going to buy a guitar and hit the road. And what I heard you say in the beginning was first you got your profession squared away and then made a decision. And now you have the best of both worlds, really. You perform, you have the love of your music and a very strong profession to... is that a necessary thing? Would you advise a youngster to get his college degree and get a profession before he, or does everybody have to follow their own path?
Yeah, well, I think you need to follow your own path. I think it's helpful to test out your dreams. So I think when I was a little kid, I had sort of the music dream, which is sort of like they say there's a great American dream. I think there's like a great musician's dream, which involves the whole kind of stardom trip. And I think when you really examine what that life is and what it involves, and when you get a taste of it, I think it's useful to update your dream around what your adult self wants. And so, you know, the idea that I can actually have a life, you know, a stable life, and I can, you know, I can buy a nice guitar like this, and I can have my own studio, you know, makes me feel good about the choices that I've made. I think when you do something for your profession, you have to there's certain trade-offs you have to make. And one of the things I've been able to do is to keep my music very sacred by being able to do it choicefully, not because I have to eat, because I do it out of love. You know, I'm able to keep a certain purity about it, which makes it more of a spiritual pursuit. You know, I don't feel at all like you see a lot of middle-aged people who are rather jaded, or you know, I don't feel jaded about really my music or my teaching. I try to keep them pure in the sense of loving them, and you know, feeling like they're an expression of my soul, you know, rather than something I have to do. Versus I think had I chosen to be a full-time musician, you know, I mean, I think there's certain advantages to that too. Maybe more of a chance to develop my craft further. But I think, you know, some of my friends, you know, I play with people who are full-time musicians, and they have a certain amount of, you know, I got to go play this wedding, got to go play this bar mitzvah, I have to do these songs, I have to change what I do so I can earn a living. And in some ways, I think I have a lot more freedom than that. So whereas, you know, I still have traces of that boyhood musician dream in me, you know, it really, you know, I've done a major reality test with it, and I've really worked hard to come to some peace with you know, having my music be more of something that I do for love rather than money. And actually, I think if you look throughout history at a lot of how music has been made through history, I don't think it really was a profession the way we have outlined it here in many cultures throughout history. Yeah. I think just the whole expectation that it should be a profession, that you should get paid for your art, or that if you have an art, it's got to be the only thing you do, I think is in a way a rather modern notion, and maybe not the healthiest one.
I think it comes down to choices, good life.
Yeah.
You sound like a man who's very happy in your life and very at peace with what you do. And I'll bet you're a heck of a teacher.
On a good day. On a good day, I'm a pretty good teacher. I love my students. So.
Good. And I'll bet you they respond to that, don't
they? They respond to what's real. Yeah. You know, if you're real with them and you come from your heart and you speak the truth, they forget about their grades for a while.
Thank you. Take us out with one of your.
Okay, this is another new one. This is a song I wrote for my wedding, which wasn't that long ago. Sort of the aftermath of the Wawa Moon. And those of you who are looking for a good wedding song, and if you've heard the Peter, Paul, and Mary one too many times, here's an alternative. Call it the wedding song. I started out trying to write one of those kind of soulful singer-songwriter type songs, and this little jig came out, so that's what I went with. You always told me to follow my heart, and now I'm gonna marry you. You always told me to follow my heart, now I'm gonna marry you. I want to marry you, to marry you, to marry you. Ever since I was a boy, I had a lot of joy. Want to share that joy with you. Ever since I was a boy, I had a lot of joy. Want to share that joy with you. And I will marry you, marry you. I want to marry you. And we'll grow the kind of roses the earth was meant to grow. Tend them in the garden of our hearts. souls together, blooming in our curiosity, till death do us part.